Oh, there I am. No wonder it wasn't recording. Welcome back, guys, to another episode in my tutorial series. Today we're going to be talking about support and resistance. Thank you very much for being a supporter of my content, and thank you to everybody for your ongoing continued love and support. If you're new to the channel, welcome. This is definitely not going to be the first or the last video that you see here, and make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss out on another tutorial on my YouTube series ever again. So, support and resistance is extremely important. Cobra, what about drawing all the lines? I don't know, isn't it going to be difficult? The entire chart that you've looked at, any chart that you've ever looked at, is literally supply and demand. We're going to go ahead and dive right into support and resistance, what they mean, and most importantly, how to correctly draw them. This is not a very difficult thing to do. We're going to do this in 10 minutes today, okay? Let's go ahead and check out the charts and dive right into this. I rewound the chart to a certain place. I'm not cherry picking anything, but the reason why I want to focus on this area is because this was a very choppy area for Bitcoin. And this is going to be an area that gets very confusing when you need to start drawing support and resistance levels. The first thing that you need to make sure that you do is you need to do it on the time frame that you're trading. If you trade on a 1 hour time frame, cool. That's what we're going to be doing this on today. So go ahead and grab your horizontal line tool. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and use that one. Areas of resistance I like to use as red. So the very first thing that you want to do is you just want to pick the areas that are most obvious to the eye as resistance. So this is definitely one here. It looks like we've got another one probably here, maybe a little lower, whatever. And then it looks like we definitely are going to have another one now around this area in here. So we've definitely got one here, and then it looks like we've got one down in here. It looks like we've got another one over here. Looks like we've got another one over here. Okay, so you don't want to clutter up the screen too much, right? Like just get some of the historical ones, but definitely get the main ones on your current price action. Okay, so the very next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hone in and adjust each one of these individual levels so that you're getting as many touches as possible, right? So scroll and get your main price action in your screen, and you just want to adjust these to get as many touches as possible. So this one actually looks like it just needs to come down a little bit, maybe around here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches here. This one maybe just come down just a little bit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's probably more than 10 touches there. This one needs to come down just a little bit so that we can grab some of this price action over here. I want to say maybe even just a little lower. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably more than 10 touches on that one. This one is actually looking pretty good. We've got one here, here, over here, plenty over here. This one is looking pretty good. This was most of the price action over here. So let's zoom in just a little bit and make sure that we got all of our wicks included in this, right? So this works. We've got this, we've got this, we've got this, we've got price action over here, price action over here acting as resistance. So that one looks pretty good. This one over here, I want to move a little bit higher, get these wicks in. Let's get this first one in. Zoom over here to the right. Nothing. Okay, so now we're focusing on these ones to the right. Okay, so we've got these over here. This looks pretty good. Zoom out a little bit. Got another wick over here. This one looks pretty decent. Maybe make this one just a little bit lower. Okay, so we got the lows over here. We've got the highs over here. This one also looking pretty decent over here. I don't really have to do too much to this. I think I might just make it a little lower, and that should be okay. So now, when you come up one time frame, let's go over to the 4 hour chart and see how that looks here. Normally, when you go up to a higher time frame, these levels are going to be a lot more obvious, okay? Because there's a little less data, you know, instead of you know, you've got one candlestick for every 4 candlesticks that you just previously had. So there's less data on your screen. So now let's just go ahead and see how this played out with the price action, right? Okay, so this is our current price action that we have now. And you can see that these levels played very important roles in the next price action. This acted as support. We tested it once here, then it broke down. This is now red. We broke down through this one. This is also now red. We used this as support for just a couple hours or whatever, and then it broke down. This now is also red. Then we've been bouncing around in here, but for the most part, our current price action, we are using this level, I would still say, as resistance. We don't have a definitive close above this yet to be retesting up here yet. And this has definitely been acting as support, as seen by all of these wicks down here. Now, I didn't pre-draw these and then remember exactly where I drew them and redrew them. I literally did this for an example right now, right in front of you. That's how I draw my support and resistance. If you're sitting here and you're like, well, you know, I don't know if this one is a support or a resistance level. I don't know if I should draw one here. If you have to go through that whole thought process, it's not a support and resistance level, okay? They are very obvious. They're very clear, and you will get better at this with practice, okay? These are going to be your supply and demand zones. So when you've got an area like this, like let's just delete some of these down here so that I can show you this real fast. So let's stick with these. So we've got this area in here, right? Like with all of these wicks and stuff that are touching down in here. So this would be a known area. If you actually, normally I take a rectangle box and do this. This is an area that would be considered demand. This is where we were holding support. This is where people wanted to buy, okay? Every time the price dipped down in here, it shot up. We dipped down in here again, it shot up. We touched it here, it shot up. We dipped down in it 2 times down here again, it shot up. Finally, there was no more demand here. Sellers were willing to sell at a lower price, and the price broke down. If you were to draw another rectangle to include these wicks down here, this is now, this is now your supply and demand zone down here, okay? So that's how you determine where supply and demand zones are. That's how you determine where support and resistance levels are. So we almost kind of did almost 2 tutorials in one, except this is now how you would basically do zones of support and resistance. So let's actually get those other levels back on the screen real quick, okay? You can see now that we've got this zone down here where we had these support and resistance levels. So if you were to draw a box here, this is where you've got demand. This is where people want to be buying. Every single time that the price has wicked down into this box in our current price action, it's come right back up, screaming back up. We touched it here, screamed back up. Same thing happened again here, here, and here. So that's how not only you draw your support and resistance lines like this is also going to be how you determine on higher time frames like the 4-hour chart and the daily chart, how you start determining areas of supply and areas of demand. Okay, so another handy thing that you can do, I'll just mention this real quick. Another handy thing that you can do is on TradingView, you can double click these and you can go to visibility. And if you only want those boxes available to be seen on the weeks and days so that your lower time frame charts aren't, totally clustered with a whole bunch of stuff, you can absolutely do that so that when you come down, to your hourly charts and stuff, these lines will show instead. And this is exactly how quickly that you can do this, right? You just double click each one, you go to the visibility, you select which ones that you want. Normally you don't want 1 million lines on your higher time frames. That's going to be reserved more for, larger zones and stuff like this that we've got, larger zones of supply and demand so that you can identify those. And then when you work your way down to a 4-hour chart, well, what do you know? Now you've got your, your support and resistance lines wherever, that you had those. Places like this, So when you go to a higher time frame, those are no longer there anymore. You've got your zones. Okay, so that's just a little tip to keep your charts a little bit cleaner. All right, everybody, that's it for today. I really hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. So if you like these tutorials, make sure that you show me by commenting down below what else you would like to see in the channel, along with smashing that like and subscribe button. Make sure that you check out the instructions and all of the links down in the description below. Any referral links do help me, and they support the channel. They help me provide you with more content. So make sure that you check all of that stuff out. Everything down there is services and websites that I personally use myself, liquidation levels, heat maps, and stuff like that. So make sure that you check out all those links in the description below. Until next time, happy trading.